may be known from the people, because you do not reap where you sow. In most times, you reap what you have sown. All right. So today we are going to be looking at navigating salary delays. When people work, just like the scripture says, a laborer is worthy of his wages. All right. When people work, they expect to get paid for what work they have done. However, there are situations where, people have salary delays, or the organization probably have an habit of delaying or not even paying salary as not when due. And this is not just to workers alone. There are also people who does maybe petty businesses or whatever they do, and because of that self-employment, or what you may want to call them, they also fall into this group where income are not coming regularly. All right, they have unstable income. They cannot predict the income that is going to come next. All right, and this whole thing can become a very big bottleneck. It can be very difficult to manage, because I've been there, like I said, and I can tell you for free, it is one state of life. You don't even wish for your enemy, because it can be very disturbing. You know what it means to wake up every day and you go to work, come back, and at the end of the month you're not going to get paid. And you're going to do that again for another 1 month. You're going to do that again so it can be very disturbing. It can be very draining. All right. But how do you navigate these times? And what do you do? How do you actually manage this time? All right. I'm thinking this right now. It's also a way of, speaking to people who are currently going through those situations, what you could do, what I did in my case, what you could do. I know it's a case-by-case basis, but who knows, one or two, counsel from other persons could actually help us, to navigate the same situation, maybe differently or even almost the same way. All right. So if you're watching right now, I want you to just leave us a comment. Let me know where exactly you are watching us from. All right. So the first thing you do, all right, when you already notice that, most times you get into the organization, you may not know that this company does not pay on time. You may not know that there are salary delays. They've had backlog of salaries. You may not even know that probably they have issues. They just fell into a problem. And because of these particular issues, they are having delays, 1 month going to 2 months, 2 months running to 3 months, and some can go as far as 6 months. And people, what it means to wake up every day and you go to work only to come back and, it looks like you are eating the bread of sorrow. But that's not your portion, all right? But again, that's what happened, because when you have to begin to nag and complain and, talk to people about the fact that you have not been paid, it's actually, more like one eating the bread of sorrow. But however, there are ways these things can be navigated. There are a few tips I'm going to be giving us, because I personally have gone through the same situation. I've worked in a company before where salary was delayed for almost 4 months. And I can tell you the truth, it didn't go without emotions. It didn't go, as a matter of fact, it got to a point that, you just don't want to think, some actions you may want to take, just as a way of even trying to protest why the delay, was happening. All right. So, but there's number one point here of what you must understand when you're having situations like this of salary delays. You must first of all, learn how to create a budget. Because I'll tell you the truth, when you work in a company for 2 months or 3 months and you already understand the pattern of payment, there is that possibility that you already know that they're not going to pay next month. They may pay in another 2 months' time, and they're going to be having like 3 months backlog. So what do you do if you still want to stay there, believing things are going to be a better day, so that you don't start going from persons to persons? Because there are ways you go from person to persons borrowing. People begin to avoid you. They begin to avoid your cause. All right. They are your good friends. They are not bad people. You must understand that human beings are selfish. It's designed that way by God. I don't know why. Maybe when we get to heaven, we'll ask him, why are human selfish? He even said the heart of men are desperately wicked. All right. So he knows men, but he is saying this isn't, and who can know it? So when people begin to receive calls from you, time after time, they begin to avoid your calls. They begin to avoid you even sometimes. All right. So what do you want to do? You want to create a budget. Somebody can type that in the comment section. You want to create, there are three basic things you cannot do without. Every other things are manageable. All right. First of all, you want to create a budget around your rents. All right. If you are living in a rented apartment. The second thing is that you want to create a budget around your feeding. Because listen, no matter how spiritual you are, whether you're going to fast for 30 days, you're going to break it one day. And when you need to break it, you need to break it with food. All right. So you definitely want to create a budget around your feeding. It's a necessity you cannot do without. And there are also basic utilities like maybe your phone, recharge, and all of that. You want to create a budget around it. That is, if you receive a salary for this month, you may want to see how you can create a budget with that 1 month salary for at least 2 months or more. All right. So that means when you're having a chunk of money with you, you're not actually having that money because you need that money for another 2 months to run because you are not sure the company is going to pay the next month. All right. So that's the first thing you would do. And don't forget that in the first instance, you're not going to know whether this company is paying or not, but you only got to know when you started working with them after 2 months or 3 months and you realize that, oh, this company are owing. All right. So the next thing you want to do is after you create a budget around these basic needs of yours, you also want to create, it's intertwined. You want to create an emergency funds. All right. Because listen, if, for instance, you are running a family, you're a father or a mother, you have children who are dependent on you, or you are a man, you have your wife, or people who are dependent on you. Listen, there are some emergency that's going to come up and it's not going to wait for the company to pay you. All right, it needs to be sorted out. It requires attention. Medicals, for instance, these are emergencies that you just don't plan them. They comes up, so you want to create a little emergency fund that no matter what happens, you could actually go to people and say, I need 1,000. All right, let's say 1,000 reals, or I need $1,000, or whatever currency of the part of the world where you live. I need 1,000, and I have 200. I have 300. Now, people could listen to you. Why? Because it's easier for them to give a helping hand. All right. But when you're looking for help and you need them to carry 100% of the burden of that help, people can get irritated. People can felt, being used. People can felt like, what? Are you trying to exploit, take advantage of me or what have you? So you want to ensure that for people not to feel that you are exploiting them, you want to ensure that at least you've got a little fund that you want to call emergency fund. So when the needs such arises, you could actually approach people and say, you know what, I have this amount of money, but can I get this, all right, just to add up to what I have to meet up with this emergency? And there are things that shouldn't be an emergency by now, all right? Like my mentor will also say that Olumide will tell you, your wife delivery shouldn't be an emergency because you had 9 months to plan it out. All right. Okay. So there are other exceptions to emergencies, of course. There are things you shouldn't call people for emergency. All right. So you want to actually make sure that you have such an emergency fund, kept up somewhere. Why are we doing this right now? Because we already know the organization where you're working. We already know what you're doing as a self-employed person is not creating a steady and a stable income for you. So an income has come right now. You may come again another 3 months. You may come again another 2 months. All right. So you want to work around these things. I want to make sure that you have, an emergency fund around. If you are getting value already, I want to type in the comment section. Let me know you are getting value and let me know where exactly you are watching us from. All right. The next thing you want to do, when you already know that the company where you're working, organization where you're working, or the kind of business you are doing is not creating a stable income. For instance, if you are, I think I can use this as an example, like a car dealer in Nigeria, for instance, I have a car stand. He already knows that you're not going to be selling cars every single day. All right. It's not possible to sell cars every day. There's going to be a possibility that you're going to have 20 cars in your car stand and you will sell one. And I can speak that from experience. All right. So you're only going to sell one in maybe 2 months or 3 months. So such a person, whatever profit you make from such, a business, you definitely want to start diversifying into other areas that is going to generate income. Oh, thank you so much, my brother Sammy. Thank you for speaking up. Yeah, you're getting value. Thank you so much. All right. So you want to diversify that money into other businesses that are going to be generating income on a daily basis. Because I tell you the truth, and I lie not, when you have assets worth billions and you do not have 1 million to solve a problem, you can be embarrassed. Yeah. It could be an embarrassment. Don't you know I'm a billionaire? I have assets worth, billions. I know, no, I don't know. I heard of a man, all right, and this was told by a renowned person. Of course, he wasn't making them up. A man, he had assets, he was worth billions. In fact, the man was a billionaire, in Nigeria actually, and he fell ill and he needed to be, to be flew abroad. Initially, they tried treating him in Nigeria, but it wasn't working. He needed to travel, I think, to India or somewhere, and they couldn't just raise the fund. His houses were put for sales, nobody was forthcoming. Fleets of cars were on for auctions, no fund was forthcoming. All right, and the only person that could come for one of the houses, and the price was really ridiculous. I told the person was buying that before the person could even do his due diligence and make payment, the man had died. They ended up selling the house and added it to what they used in his burial. That's what it makes. You could actually have access, you could have everything. You want to ensure that there's a level of liquidity at every given time. The reason for this is because you want to make sure that you stay afloat, because there is definitely going to be, things are going to happen. It's just the life we are living. No matter how much you think you had planned it, there are going to still be circumstances that are beyond control. All right. So you want to ensure there is a level of diversification. All right. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. All right. However, people have also said that you could put it in one basket and ensure your basket is in a safer hand. But I will tell you the reality, even the scripture teaches us, said in the morning sow your seed, in the evening do not withhold your hand. He said you do not know which one, all right, will fall in bad days or even in good days. So you want to make sure that you actually, diversify, create a multiple stream of income. There's a book I'm going to recommend on that right now. It's called Multiple Stream of Income. How to create multiple stream of income. I'll do a couple of teaching on this, because listen, you just cannot do one thing. Even the Christ wasn't doing one thing. All right. I don't want to go into religious, but this is a reality. You just want to make sure that you've got so much going for you, got different streams flowing into your life, and you create that multiple streams by different things you are connected, like you plugged in. As a matter of fact, every man that actually wants to live, a consistent financial life, you want to ensure that you have a minimum of 6 to 7 streams of income. Yes, it is true. A lot of people have as much as 20, 30 streams of incomes. And it's not a joke, and they are all well managed. All right. So some of us are still trying to build one or two, but trust me, you have to get there. And that's at the point where you now say you are, having, a level of financial freedom. All right. So you want to make sure you actually diversify. As you earn your income, look for things that are going to bring in little money just to keep your life, to keep the family, to keep things. It may be very little, maybe very insignificant. It's okay, but at least something should come up. So you don't need to borrow money to pay taxi to go to work. You don't need to borrow money to buy fuel in your car, to drive to your work. You don't need to. So you just want to create a level of, comfort around yourself. Don't matter how small they are. All right. If you want us to do a video on some of the things you could actually do as, business or minor stuff that can actually allow for this, multiple streams for you, whether as a worker or as a business person, just drop in the comment section, and definitely we'll be creating a video on that also. All right. Another thing, when you're already having a situation like this of salary delays, you want to have a very good negotiation skills. You want to have a very good negotiation skills. Listen, because it's going to get to a point that your money will get finished, all right? And it could be very embarrassing. The landlord is on the door. You have some creditors, waiting to have their money back, and they don't care. Probably you have promised them, you had, told them that, listen, I'm going to give you on certain date, and on such date, your salary hasn't come. The employer has not paid. This is not your fault. What are you going to do? You want to have a good negotiation skill. One thing you should never do, all right? Take note of this. One thing you should never do, avoid borrowing money to pay debts. It's a circle of debt that may never end. As much as is lies within you, avoid borrowing money to pay debts. All right. When you have an existing debt already, you want to have a very good negotiation skill, and you want to speak sincerely to your creditor. You want to ensure that your creditor, whatever you are telling them, is exactly what it is and nothing but the truth. All right. Your landlord is there, and probably one or two vendors you bought things from, and the salary has not forthcome. No, it's not forthcoming. I don't even know when it's going to come. You want to have a very good negotiation skill. There are some negotiations you will do that will end up in a win-win situation. One of the major challenges we have with people, of our world is that a lot of us want to go into negotiation with a mind to win the negotiation. No, you must always consider the person on the other side. All right. When you win the negotiation and the person loses the negotiation, that isn't a negotiation. That was more like you took the person to court, or you just won an argument. So you want to ensure that when you're making a negotiation with the person, let the person feel a bit happy, maybe not comfortable, but at least have a level of trust from the negotiation you have just done. For instance, listen to this negotiation. A landlord is here and he wants to take his rent, and the rent is $1,000 or 1,000 reals, or let's say, whatever amount. Let's put it as just 1,000 for easy calculations. And the landlord is there and he needs to take his money. And you speak to the landlord, I'm so sorry, the money hasn't come now, and it's going to come so and so time. If probably that next time you have said now failed, instead of going to borrow money at interest, because usually when you want to borrow money for people, the only way they can give you is when you let them know what they stand to gain. All right, you want to borrow money at interest. Instead of borrowing money at interest to pay the landlord, why not negotiate with the landlord and say, sir, please, I know this delay is not what you expected, but can I just ask for this? When I receive this, my salary, I promise I'm going to pay 2 months, meaning this month and the next month. It may not go well at the first instant, but when he reasons it, meaning next month is not going to be owing me. He actually had the intention to be paying. It's just this company that is frustrating him. That negotiation can go a long way to soften the heart of the landlord. If that doesn't work, instead of giving an interest to someone else you are going to be borrowing from, you could promise him a top up on whatever the rent is, all right? Or taking up a bill, a utility bill in the house, as a way of compensating for the time you have wasted for not paying that rent. All right. So you want to actually develop a good negotiation skill. But one of the major problems people have when they're having salary delays or unstable incomes, they get into problem with creditors. And sometimes they call those creditors, wicked. They don't have understanding. It does not even show that he understands. No. It does not have to actually understand. He does not have to. All right. Because he's running a business. Let's say if it's a real estate, he must have rented it or bought it with a steady, calculation of what the return should be. So your salary delay was not factored into his business, and you don't expect him to understand. You just need to make him understand by coming up with a deal that will also interest him. If you're getting value, let me just know that you're getting value already. All right. I will just drop the other one here. More like, I actually have like 7-8 points to talk on, but let me just look for 2 more to speak on how you can actually navigate on stable income and maybe salary delays or what have you. You also want to have want to leverage on community of people, networking. You want to have people around your life that a supportive people. Or I think that's a better one. A supportive people. But again, you do not give or you do not receive from others what you have not done for anyone. All right. You don't receive from others what you have not done for anyone. You reap what you have sown. If you want to receive mercy, you must show yourself to be merciful. So the question is, when you have, how liberal and how, were you to the community of people around you? What is your level of networking? How do you actually, see When people are also in their needs, how do you step up on their own issues and try to assist them? Because when you've done whatever you make happen for others, will definitely happen to you. Money or any form of resources. No, it may be gift of time. Do you have time for people? All right. Do you invest time into people? Do you take time, to call on people or to be in part of their own issues or problem? How often do you actually go out of your way to support others? You do not expect people, to jump a stream of water for you when you can't even jump the gutter for them. All right. So you want to ensure that you build a network of people. See, life is not give and give, and life is not take and take. Life is give and take. The day you stop, exhaling carbon from your nostril, and you don't expect oxygen to come in. All right. So you must first of all have to give out carbon monoxide for you to be able to take in oxygen. All right. So it's a give and take. When you stop giving to the environment, when you stop giving to people, when you stop being a supportive system, a system of support, how reliable are you to your network of friends? Can people actually call you and find out you're not going to make excuse? Some of you are very crafty in making excuses, and you expect everyone to be at attention when you need help. But when people need help, you are very smart to making excuses. You are the only one that will not be there during people's events. You are the only one that will not have time to sacrifice for people's issues. And yet, here comes your salary delays. Here comes your unstable income. Here comes a time where you need community of friends to create a support around you. They may also find reasons not to do it. You must have, for you to gain a better support from people, you must have affected their life to a point where denying you is like a sin to them. Yes. I think that's deserved, to be written down. You must have affected people to the point where denying you help will be like a sin to them. Not because you have faulted it, not because you have done anything against it, because they know that denying you is more like a sin. They cannot even take it. So you want to make sure that you live a life that allow people to enjoy from you. You exhale, you give out in any form. You could give out your used clothes. You will give out your used things. Just be a giver. All right? It becomes very easy to navigate times like this. Because why? You will get lifts when you are going to work. People will just walk up to you and say, you know what? Let me fill your tank. Listen, you will get help from diverse places. Because givers never get stuck. It's not a religious thing. It is a reality. All right? So you want to leverage on that. And the next one, which quickly I want to say, while you earn your money, invest on independent skill that will help you. All right? There are a lot of things you can do online right now that you're going to generate money from. As a matter of fact, sometimes when I face some of the things online, I'm like, how many things am I going to do? No, let me just, because we are human, and the more we use up ourselves, the more difficult it is for us to actually, especially when you're leading businesses, you don't have time for yourself, you don't have time to, to create vision and mission statement for your organizations. So try to limit, physical, activities as much as possible. But trust me, there are a lot of, in fact, making money these days is much more easier right now. So invest on skills. Go learn a skill. Go learn on a lot of skills are there you're going to learn on. And trust me, just doing that after you close from work, mind your business, that can keep you afloat. When the salary eventually comes, you'll be amazed at what you do. Now, I'll tell you what happened in my case. I was in a company, it was a construction site, and we were on salary for like 3 months. Guess what? I was on site one day, and we're just working, and the foreman, it was an housekeeping issues. I needed to do housekeeping in my area, and I stopped the bulk carts, to be used for cleaning. And the foreman became very angry, and he said, "No, I don't have the right to stop the bulk carts, and eventually the construction manager said the same thing, and I was fired. I was sacked from the site. And guess what? And they are owing us like 4 months, and we've been barely surviving for this time. But because somehow I have created a lot of things around myself, no matter how small it was at that time. Immediately I got paid after a lot of fights, a lot of trouble with the organization. I eventually get paid. I took the money and I bought Nissan Sunny 2006. That was what I started using for taxi. And that survived me for a longer time. So you want to make sure that, you, and all the while that this salary was delayed, I eventually got fired in the midst of it. And when you are on salary and they're also firing you, it doesn't really make sense, right? You're thinking like, what is this? Because at the point of being fired, you're not even going to get paid. All right, you're not getting, there's no payoff, there's nothing. But at the end of the day, the lesson learned, from the whole incident is the fact that you must understand that no matter how much you plan your life, there are going to be unplanned circumstances. The company may fall into troubles. There may be issues that come. Just have something that you could actually use to navigate that season of your life. The most important that you don't want to get rid of, or you don't want to even think, that you don't have. At this time, because you're having delays or you're having unstable income, emotions will be rising. All right. You're going to be troubled. You may not be thinking right. You may get angry so easily. You may get irritated with the work. If I'm going to work and be very tired, when you hear the alarm rings and you need to go to work, you want to even smash the phone. All right. It's very annoying at this time. You want to make sure you take care of your mental health. You want to ensure that you stay mentally stable and spiritually grounded. You must be spiritually grounded. Because listen, you are either in a secret place or in a secret court. Life is spiritual. All right? At that time, the devil can come. In fact, a lot of frustrations can come in. All right? And you want to make sure that you are spiritually grounded and you are mentally stable. Because it can actually get to you. Or as a man, for instance, you come home, there is no money, and your wife is asking you, the cheese are there, school fees are there. It can be really draining. You want to make sure you are mentally stable and you are spiritually grounded. And when this is there, these 6 or 7 points I've listed right now, you are able to actually follow them or abide by all of them. I can tell you, you can navigate any storm, whether salary delays or stable incomes or whatever happened at any time. It seems as if the stream of income is not coming as steady or as it ought to. You could actually be able to come out of it better than when the situation happened. All right. If you have gained value up to this, I want to just like this video and share it. Leave us a comment in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching us from. All right. Till I come your way again, I remain your friend, Emmanuel O, Oigie, saying, stay blessed. Thank you.